Among men, there are those who remain in women's memories for a long time, regardless of how many new acquaintances enter their lives. These men leave a deep mark not because of their appearance or material wealth, but due to their behavior and what they represent. And here arises an interesting moment. Many men do not even realize they can become unforgettable. We invite you into a space where we debunk myths, reveal manipulations, and speak openly about what truly works with women. If you are tired of vague advice that misses the essence of female psychology, then you are here. Today we will discuss 7 ways a man can be remembered by a woman. This may spark some debate, as the truth is sometimes uncomfortable. Women may not admit it out loud, but deep down they understand that it is true. They know the man who leaves a significant mark is not the one who always fulfills their wishes, but the one who challenges them, supports them, and does not compromise for their approval. Think about it. Most men in a woman's consciousness are just passing figures, appearing and disappearing like background noise. But there is an exceptional man who stands out from the others, changing her perception and lingering in her thoughts long after he disappears. This is the one she compares everyone else to. By the end of this discussion, you will understand how he differs from others, and more importantly, you will learn how to occupy this unique role, not by pretending, but by living in a way that commands respect and leaves no chance for oblivion. The first thing to understand is who is leaving. Men are often told that if they value a woman, they must hold on to her with all their might, fight, and prove their worth. However, here is the uncomfortable truth. The man who becomes unforgettable is not the one who clings when everything starts to fall apart. It is the one who has the strength to leave. By leaving, you convey a message that most men are afraid to say out loud. My life does not depend on you. This is a powerful message, as women are used to men persistently asking and doing everything possible to get a second chance. A man who refuses to play by these rules breaks the usual script, surprising her and making her see something greater in herself than just another man she could manipulate. This does not mean being cold or indifferent. This means demonstrating that your worth surpasses her approval. The moment you show this, she begins to feel something unexpected. Respect. Respect mixed with curiosity, because you are no longer predictable. You are not just another man she can control with silence, mood swings, or threats. You have proven that your absence will not be a catastrophe for you. This is where psychology comes into play. When someone fears losing something important, they try to hold on tighter. When someone realizes they cannot control you, they start to think about how not to lose you. Women never forget those men who show courage and leave first. This changes the relationship. Instead of deciding whether you deserve to stay, you show that you control the situation. Leaving is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. And this force leaves a deep mark. It may try to replace you, distract you, or create the illusion that you are unimportant. However, late at night, it remembers the man who was not afraid to leave when everyone expected him to plead. He is the one with whom she compares everyone else. Men who plead often fall into a destructive habit. They ask for hugs, love, or commitments, initially unaware of it. For example, they send extra messages if she doesn't respond, apologize for things they didn't do just to smooth things over, or promise her peace when she doesn't deserve it. Men don't understand that the more they plead, the less noticeable they become in her eyes. This is why women tend to test men's strength. This strength is not measured by muscles or money, but by how men react under pressure. A man who begs shows his weakness, as he indicates that her approval is more important than his self-esteem. This is not love, but a manifestation of despair that is quickly forgotten. Now compare it to the man who never begs. He shows through his actions that he is self-sufficient. If she pulls away, he will not pursue her. When she ignores him, he doesn't fill her phone with messages. If she threatens to leave, he doesn't break his promises. Instead, he calmly shows that he respects himself enough not to beg for love. This is where respect reveals itself. The psychology is simple. When you beg, you place yourself beneath her. People do not value what comes too easily, but when you refuse to beg, you change the game, and she begins to wonder, why isn't he fighting for me? Am I not as important to him as I thought? This question lingers and makes you unforgettable. It's important to understand that women never forget a man who values himself above her approval. Such a man leaves a mark, for he is unique. Many men are so afraid of losing a woman that they are willing to sacrifice their masculinity to keep her. A man who does not plead rejects such a deal. He prefers to lose her rather than lose himself. The irony is that when you stop begging, you usually do not lose her. On the contrary, you gain her respect and attraction. No other quality brings a woman closer to a man like the realization that she does not control him with threats of leaving. So remember, if you want to stay in her memory, stop begging for crumbs of attention. Be strong and confident. A man who never pleads reveals to her something greater than just love. He demonstrates his resilience, and it is this that leaves memories of him even when others fade away. The one she must chase becomes a third. Usually, men spend their lives pursuing women using compliments, constant messages, favors, and tireless efforts. But the truth is that the harder they try, the faster it slips away. Why does this happen? Because what is given too easily is rarely valued. What comes without effort never evokes the same interest as that which seems earned. Women never forget the man they had to chase, as this experience is unique. Note, most men give up at the first sign of beauty, forgetting their plans, goals, and standards for a chance to attract attention. But when a man does not follow conventional rules, forcing her to prove her worth, everything changes. Pursuit does not always mean a physical chase. It can also be psychological. A woman starts to chase you when she begins to invest in you. When she questions what you think of her and tries to earn your time, that's where true attraction begins, as she is emotionally invested. Once a woman puts her efforts into you, it stays with her forever. A man who changes the game leaves her in the role of a pursuer, living with a specific purpose. He does not cancel his training, business meetings, or meetings with friends just because she wrote to him. He shows her, without uttering a word, that his mission comes first. And at that moment, when she realizes she is not the center of his universe, her instincts kick in. She begins to think about how to attract more of his attention. This curiosity becomes the foundation for her pursuit. This is where the psychological advantage appears. People value what they have had to work for. If she had to strive to earn your attention, your time, and respect, she will begin to place greater importance on you. You become not just another man who crossed her path, but someone for whom she had to make an effort. These efforts imprint you in her memory. It does not mean playing cruel games or being insincere. It is more about knowing your worth and not selling it cheaply. When you choose who to spend time with and show that not everyone has access to you, she feels honored to be part of your life, and that part stays with her. Ask yourself, do you want to be the man she forgets as soon as her phone rings with a new message? Or do you want to be the one who leaves her in confusion and constant thoughts? Why can't she stop thinking about you? Because she had to earn you. The man who makes her pursue him not only wins her attention, but also her respect, desire, and above all, memory. Long after others have disappeared, she will remember the one who stood firm, allowing her to approach him. The fourth type is a man who is beyond a woman's control. Let me give an example. A friend of mine had a relationship where his girlfriend constantly tested his strength. She staged small tantrums, threatened to leave, or used silence as a tool of manipulation. Like many men, he always gave in. If she wanted him to cancel plans with friends, he did. If she needed to argue over trifles, he would spend hours explaining his position just to calm her down. At first, she was pleased by this, but over time she lost respect for him. Why? Because control destroys attraction. Now compare him to another man I know. His girlfriend once declared that if he didn't fulfill her request, she would leave. Instead of panicking, he simply replied, "That's your choice." No shouting, no pleas, no threats, just confidently. Guess what happened? She didn't leave. On the contrary, she stayed because deep down she understood that she could not break him. This moment became the foundation for the respect that remained. Here is the lesson. Women do not actually seek men they can control. Of course, they can pressure, test, and check how much territory you are willing to concede. But when they realize they can mold you like clay, their interest wanes. Control makes you predictable, and predictable men are quickly forgotten. A man who remains unyielding and unresponsive to ultimatums becomes unforgettable. Psychology explains this well. People by nature test boundaries. Children test parents. Subordinates test bosses. And women test men in relationships. But the one who sets firm boundaries inspires respect, and respect is the foundation of desire. This does not mean being cold or cruel. It means showing calm strength. When she tries to make you feel guilty, you do not give in. If she uses silence as punishment, you do not start to pursue her. When she threatens, you do not beg. You remain firm, unwavering, and focused on your values. This is what distinguishes the men she quickly forgets from those who remain in her memory for many years. Think of those men women remember even after years. They are rarely the ones who allowed themselves to be controlled like puppets. They are those who could not be manipulated. Men who remained steadfast and confident made it clear, I am with you because I want to, not because you control me. Such a man leaves a deep mark. She remembers him not because he fulfilled all her whims, but because he demonstrated an unbreakable strength. The fifth type is one who has standards. One of the most common mistakes men make in relationships is lowering their demands to keep a woman. They tolerate behavior from each other that they would never accept from others. She arrives late without explanation, and he just smiles as if nothing happened. She treats him disrespectfully in public, and he laughs to avoid conflict. She flirts with other men in his sight, while he tries to convince himself that it's just harmless fun. Such mistakes weaken a man's position and make him invisible. Why do men fall into this trap? The answer is simple. They fear losing her. They believe it's better to have any woman nearby than to demand responsibility from her. But the reality is, by accepting less than you deserve, you teach her how to treat you. Once she realizes you're willing to tolerate disrespect, respect for you will vanish. Now let's consider a more proper approach. A man who knows his standards neither threatens nor begs for better treatment. He calmly sets boundaries. If she is late without a valid reason, he will not ignore it. He directly tells her, my time is valuable. If you don't respect him, we won't spend time together. This is not control, but a manifestation of self-respect. If she behaves disrespectfully in public, it is better not to nervously laugh or respond with insults. It would be more appropriate to calmly discuss this later. I will not tolerate such treatment. If it happens again, he will get out of the situation. Do you see the difference? He does not threaten. He shows that he values himself and is ready to leave if necessary. Even in the case of flirting, a weak man looks for excuses. A strong man sets clear boundaries. If you want to behave that way, do it, but not with me. I'm not going to share my time with someone who doesn't respect our relationship. This statement establishes a firm standard without shouting or pleading. The thing is, women will never forget a man who knows his standards because he makes them strive for more to match him. He makes her responsible in ways that most men fear, and when she changes her behavior to keep him, she emotionally invests in him. This investment makes him unforgettable. Mistakes stem from fear, while right actions come from strength. A man who knows his standards is not harsh. He is consistent. He is not willing to compromise his values for her happiness. He understands that relationships should enrich his life, not drain it. And since he respects himself first and foremost, she has no choice but to respect him too. The sixth point, a man who feels no fear. Fear is a silent destroyer of masculinity. Most men do not even realize how deeply fear affects their behavior in relationships. The fear of losing her, the fear of angering her, the fear of being alone, the fear of not being good enough. Because of this fear, they eventually start to walk on tiptoes, filtering every word and apologizing just to please her. But here is the truth. Women will never remember a man who lives in fear. They remember the man who moves forward, even without her. When you fear losing her, you give her power. She feels it in your hesitation to say no, in how you over-explain your decisions, and in how you give in when she starts to push. This fear makes you invisible, revealing your vulnerability. It may stay with you, but it won't inspire admiration or respect. Namely, respect creates lasting attraction. Now imagine a man who fears nothing. He boldly expresses his opinion, even if it leads to disagreements. He is not afraid to end toxic relationships. He is not afraid of solitude because he understands that his worth does not depend on the presence of a woman beside him. Such a man radiates strength, and it is this strength that is remembered. Without fear, a man will not be frivolous and will stand confidently on his own 2 feet. When she places ultimatums before him, he remains calm and responds, "That's your decision." If she tries to make him feel guilty, he doesn't rush to desperate apologies but looks her in the eyes and says, "I'm not going to apologize for who I am." This reaction is infallible. Women can argue with him, challenge him, even become upset, but they will never forget him. Why? Because he is unique. This man stays true to himself, not allowing fear from her actions to influence his own, and this confidence lingers in her memory long after he is gone. The psychology is simple. People are attracted to those who act without fear. Fear makes you reactive, while courage makes you proactive. A man who knows no fear actively moves towards his goals and stands by his beliefs, leaving no room for a woman to guess his position. This clarity makes him unforgettable. So ask yourself, do you live in fear of her approval, or do you follow your principles? A man who is not afraid may lose some women, but always earns respect. And respect is the foundation that turns into memory. Long after others have disappeared, she will remember the man who went through her trials, strong, fearless, and powerful. He is the one who teaches, and every woman remembers the man who taught her something important about herself, love, or life. Not because he controlled her, but because his presence and actions transformed her. Such a man becomes unforgettable, as he is not just another guy or a fleeting adventure, but a turning point in her life. Unfortunately, most men leave nothing significant behind. They enter her life, give attention, engage in the same conversations, and display the same behaviors she has seen hundreds of times. And when it all ends, she has nothing to ponder. He is easily forgotten because he did not change her perception. But the man who teaches is different. He shows that respect is mutual and refuses to tolerate disrespect. He demonstrates that love is not about control, living independently and purposefully. He teaches her the value of patience, not rushing with commitments or forcing intimacy. Each interaction becomes a lesson not because someone gains knowledge, but because he behaves in a way that cannot be ignored. For example, imagine a woman whom men have always been ready to worship, pursue, and fulfill all her wishes. But then she meets a man who does not behave that way. He listens to her, cares for her, but does not yield. He shows her that to keep him, she needs to contribute more to the relationship than just her appearance. Without words, he teaches her that real men value something deeper. This lesson stays in her memory long after he disappears. The psychology is simple. People do not forget those who contributed to their development. If you inspire someone to become better, think differently, or raise their standards, you remain in their memories forever. For women, a man who teaches them often becomes the standard by which they compare all others. But here's the essence. To teach does not mean to control. It's not about forcing her to change or imposing one's rules. It's about being so steadfast in your principles that she starts learning from your way of life. You don't need to tell her, "Don't show me disrespect." You show this by distancing yourself from disrespectful behavior. You don't need to say, "Be independent." You show this, pursuing your goal unapologetically. Therefore, she does not forget who taught her, as he became not just a part of her life, but an important lesson. Women meet many men throughout their lives, but only a few leave a deep mark. An unforgettable man is one who does not plead, sets standards, does not allow himself to be controlled, and fears nothing. He is the man who leaves when necessary, making her yearn for him and leaving lessons that last long. Remember, it's not about playing or being cruel. It's about living with strength, self-respect, and purpose. Become such a man, and you will not only be remembered, but also be the one she compares everyone else to.